It's not what I thought when you hit record, I would automatically just something would come to my head that I would say, something brilliant, something hilarious. It's not going to happen. Hi everyone, and welcome to Newegg TV. My name is Paul, and today we have a build video for you guys. By popular demand, we've been asked for build, and we are going to build today. So we have all this hardware here. We have chosen this hardware for a specific purpose. Let me just tell you why. We were at CES this year, back in January, and we were on the show floor. We were doing some coverage of that, and we were like, we want to film video here at CES, then we want to edit it and upload it that night, you know, try to get it real time and up while the event was still going on and stuff. So we were editing video on a laptop, which is okay, it works, we got it done, but we're just, the whole time we're like, this would be so much better on our desktop computer that we've built specifically for editing video. So, to that end, we have chosen all these parts here, starting with our Silverstone case, which is a Micro-ATX case, which also has a big old handle on it, because we want this entire build to be portable. So this is our portable video editing build. So for starters, I'm going to go over all of the hardware that we have chosen, and while also talking about the hardware, I'm going to say huge thanks to all of our sponsors, all of the vendors and manufacturers who provided all of this hardware to us. And we're going to start with the case, because that is sort of what we have based this build around. We wanted a small, portable rig. We wanted it to be portable, so that's why we chose this one, because it has a very sturdy handle across the top. It's Silverstone. It's the Silverstone Sugo Series SG04FH. It has very good build quality, and we've been very happy with the case so far, and we're hoping that this build will go well in it, but that remains to be seen. The next huge sponsor that we have to say huge thanks to, and if Kyle has time, maybe he'll do an awesome like splash screen, some sort of cool logo right now that's going to go over it. He might do that. We'll see if he has time. But Kingston, thank you Kingston for all of your support with this build. They have provided us with the memory being very important for video editing, because you need high-speed memory and you need lots of it. So we have a quad channel memory kit here. The specific name is KHX1600C9D3K4/16GX. That's the quad channel DDR3, 4 gigs per stick, 16 gigs total, 1600 speed memory. That's for our quad channel build. And then we have this right here, which is kind of the piece de résistance, or however that's pronounced, of this build, which is our SSD collection. We have 3 Kingston HyperX SSDs. We've got a 120 gig one right here. We're going to install the operating system on that. And then we're going to have a 480 gig SSD RAID 0 array on these two guys right here, which should give us plenty of space and plenty of speed for all of our video editing needs. Next up, we have our processor, and it's a brown box. This is a Intel Core i7-3930K unlocked processor. This is an engineering sample, which is why it's in a brown box. If you buy the retail, don't worry, it won't look like that, but the processor itself works just the same. For our CPU cooler for that 3930K, we have a Corsair H100 240mm closed-loop water cooling CPU cooler. Included pump. We needed a low-profile cooler for this, and we decided to go with a closed-loop water cooling solution. And the H100, even though it's a 240mm radiator, actually seems like it will fit quite nicely in our Silverstone case with just a slight bit of modding, which we will come back to. Our video card is this little guy from MSI. This is the MSI Twin Frozer 3, and this is actually a GTX 570 from NVIDIA. So right there, there's that video card. The reason we're going with this is a gaming card, which is, of course, very useful for gaming. But the other great benefit of this is that since we're using the Adobe Premiere suite, we're using Adobe Premiere and the Adobe CS 5.5 Master Collection, and with the NVIDIA CUDA capabilities of the GTX 570 series, well, GTX 500 series in general, you actually do get GPU acceleration with that. So this actually works, even though it's a gaming card and not, for instance, a workstation card, it works fantastically with Adobe Premiere. Now our the base of our system here is going to be our motherboard. We've got an ASUS Rampage 4 Gene motherboard. It's a socket 2011 motherboard with the X79 chipset, so that's going to be for our Intel processor. This is a fantastic motherboard, and it's just amazing how much ASUS has packed so much stuff into a Micro-ATX board on that. We actually have a separate video on this. If you guys want to check it out, you can see all the details on that one. Finally, our power supply is right here. We have an Enermax Platimax 850 watt. It's 80 plus platinum rated. It's extremely efficient. It's also small. It also runs pretty cool. So that's going to be our biggest issue with this build is thermals and keeping everything under wraps there. But there you have it. Wait, no, we're not quite done yet. We have some accessories over here. Almost forgot that. Since we're going with SSDs, we have a couple of these little Bytecc 2.5 inch to 3.5 inch to 2.5 inch brackets. They each allow you to install two 2.5 inch drives where you would normally install a 3.5 inch drive. And then the other thing, as I was mentioning, is we have some possible concerns about thermals with this build because it is so small and we have so much hardware packed in there. So we have a collection of slim fans here from Scythe. These are the Kaze Juni slim fans, and I'm sure I'm mangling that pronunciation, but there you have it. We have a stack of them here. We'll use as many as are necessary, and we're going to be popping those in wherever we can fit them to get as much airflow as possible. And since we are here at Newegg, and these particular items here, as well as the Bytecc brackets, came from our accessory guys, we might throw some other stuff in as we move along just to see what else we can do. And we've talked to our accessory guys, and they said, whatever we need, sure, no problem.
Whatever you need, sure, no problem.
See? And of course, we cannot forget our optical drive here, which seems to just have appeared out of nowhere. This is a Blu-ray burner. The model number is IHBS112, and this is provided by Lite-On. So thank you very much, Lite-On. Today's build is a bit more of an advanced build, so if you're a first-time builder, you might want to head over to our Newegg YouTube channel, check out our tutorials section. There we have a 3-part How to Build a Computer series, which goes over all the basics of assembling your own computer. That's using stock components in a more typical standard gaming build. For today's build, we are going to be doing some modifications, so if you're doing a build and you are going to be modifying the hardware, bear in mind that you will almost invariably void your manufacturer's warranty, so keep that in mind. It is at your own risk. The other thing is today we are going to be using some additional hardware. I know at one point we are going to be using this Dremel, actually very soon. Apart from that, we will mostly be using our typical screwdrivers, our razor blade for opening stuff. If things get really nasty, we might need to break out the power drill, but hopefully it will not come to that. We like to keep things stock as much as possible, especially if any of you folks out there want to do a similar build to this. But our first order of business is going to be the planning stage, and in a small build like this, you definitely want to plan ahead because once you get the hardware in there, often there's places you can't even access without removing that hardware and going over it again. But our first item of business is going to be how to get this 240mm H100 radiator into this little case, and for that we're actually going to be mounting it at the front, and we're going to be using this existing two 120mm fans bracket. Now, I've taken a brief detour from our H100 installation because I do want to drop in our motherboard just to make sure we're not going to have any space conflicts. So I'm going to start by installing our Socket 2011 CPU. Since I did not demonstrate this in our How to Build a Computer video because this socket was not available at that time, I am going to pop this open. You lift both of these retention arms, and you do have the option right now of dropping them back down if you want to get them out of the way while you drop the CPU in the socket. Of course, when you're handling your delicate computer parts, such as the motherboard and the processor, always make sure you ground yourself first. You can do that by touching a large metal object such as a case, or ideally an actual plugged-in computer. You can touch the case or the power supply casing. Here is our CPU. There are notches on it. They're slightly offset, so it's a little bit wider on one side than on the other. There's also a gold arrow at one end right here that you can line up with a gold arrow that's actually on the socket itself, which is right there. Gold arrow, or not gold arrow, just an arrow. So once you've lined that up and determined which way you're going to drop it in, you want to drop the processor directly down into the socket. Don't have it angled at all. This is a little bit delicate procedure, so make sure that you don't put any pressure on it or anything like that. Once that's dropped in, you can reinstall this actual bracket. So you'll want to drop down the main plate first, and then this retention arm that will put some pressure down on that plate, and then you drop down this retention arm, and now the CPU is installed. Next up, we do have an aftermarket heatsink fan. Sometimes those require a back plate, but fortunately we could use the universal mounting bracket on the 2011 socket, and then we use these little standoffs which came with our Corsair H100 for 2011 sockets. We're just going to install all 4 of these, and that way we can easily mount our heatsink. Next up, going to drop the motherboard in, so I have installed our input-output shield there at the back. I did need to drop in one additional motherboard standoff here at the bottom. These motherboard standoffs are sort of a weird size, but as motherboard standoffs go, it is okay to tighten these down really tight. Just make sure you don't strip them, of course. Now that that one is in, we will take our motherboard, we will line it up with the socket at the back, and we'll drop it into place, and then we have 8 mounting points where we're going to tighten down our screws. And with motherboard screws, you want to do them snug but not too tight. Reason being, if you do need to unscrew them in the future, you don't want to back off that standoff down below it. So now that the motherboard is installed, I've done some lining up here, and I do think that we are going to be able to fit all of our hardware in the case. This is going to be our main dilemma here, because we have the H100, which is just a little bit longer than this panel right here. These edges at the bottom and at the top, we're going to need to cut little dips out of on either side. And I would just do one side, but actually there's such little space vertically in the case that I think I need to fit this in directly like that and have both sides drop in order to have enough room to fit this vertically in the case, and then also have room to mount the fans on the back of this so I can pull air into the case. To cut the plastic on the edges, I'm going to use this Dremel. This is a pretty low power cordless Dremel. I do not recommend this if you're going to be doing case mods such as cutting metal, but since we're just cutting through plastic, it should be just fine. I should also mention I am definitely not a Dremel master or anything like that, so if you really want some good tutorials on that, check out some other YouTube channels aside from ours. Hopefully we'll be getting better at that in the future, but MNPC Tech is a great one for that if you want some Dremel tutorials. So I'm going to tape this off and mark where I'm going to be cutting, and then I will start cutting. So here's the result of our Dremel work. We have a groove cut out on either side of this plastic bracket, and that will now fit on top of our H100. Now the dilemma that we are faced with is that we really need to have this almost dead center. We need a little bit of overhang on either side, otherwise this whole unit will not fit into our case. Unfortunately, even though this plastic bracket has mounting holes all up both sides for various fan configurations, none of those will actually line up with the mounting holes on the H100 as it stands. So we're actually going to need to re-drill a few of these mounting holes. Fortunately, we don't have to make them as big as these because we're just using it to mount the H100. But I'm just making a real quick paper guide for that so I can line it up with this plastic bracket and then drill some additional holes there. Now at this point, we have a glorious amount of chaos surrounding me in the midst of this computer build, which is just how I like it. You might be a little bit more organized, but that's just how I do things. But I did want to pause for a moment to say that when you're using power tools such as this one or Dremels, that you should always use proper safety techniques. You should be wearing protective eyewear, and ideally you should be working in a not a workstation, you should be working in a workbench type environment where you can use clamps and vices and everything to hold the items that you're working on securely. That being said, we don't necessarily have all that stuff here, so in a tutorial type video, there's a few things that I might skip over. Suffice to say, we now have holes drilled based on our guide here in this front panel, and it should line up with our H100. And here's our H100 attached to that front panel bracket, and it does fit in there. I have done a little tester on it, and if you look closely, you can probably tell that I had to drill those holes twice, but I'll take responsibility for that. That was my bad. Fortunately, this front panel door on our case will cover this. This is pretty much aesthetically not even going to ever be seen. But the beauty of that is that if you are modding, you don't necessarily have to mod for aesthetics, which you can once you get better at it, but if you mod for function, then you don't have to worry about little mix-ups like that. Next up, we're going to work on all of our wiring, because that we'll need to get in there before we install the rest of the hardware. So I've set aside the SATA cables here. We have 3 solid state drives that we're installing, as well as one optical drive. I cannot stress enough in a small form factor build like this the importance of cable management, and especially thinking ahead with cable management, because if you don't route the cables ahead of time, you might have hardware installed that you have to completely uninstall in order to mount that properly. Here I've gone ahead and used the included cable labels with our ROG motherboard, which are very handy. So I've labeled all these so I'll know, even if I can only access one end of the cable in the future, I'll know which end, what that SATA cable is plugged into. We do have one benefit here with our Silverstone case, and that is that the entire bottom of the case pops out, and this is what we're going to be using to mount our SSDs. We have our Bytecc brackets that are going to sit right on top of these mounts right there, and then each of these brackets can hold 2 SSDs. Now at this point, I might run into a little bit of space issues up against the front of the case up here, so I know I'm going to use at least one of these brackets to hold 2 SSDs, and I may end up mounting the third one just directly to this base plate. So moving right along, just installing some of the front panel connectors here, HD audio, and I've been trying to route all the cables down to this lower area of the case. You can also see some of the SATA cables down here. I actually popped up the motherboard real quick so I could route some of those under the motherboard just to save some space. Of course, we also have some USB front panels, so I'm going to drop that in. And just working to, wherever possible, tie these cables down and get them where they should be, but then also tucked out of the way, because once we start dropping in video card and the power supply, we're going to run out of space in here really fast. The case is looking nice and tidy now. Next up, I'm going to be dropping in the H100, which we have pre-configured to drop into this bracket here in the front. And I'm going to mount this. I cleaned off the thermal paste earlier so we could test and make sure it was going to fit okay. But I'm going to be sliding this through. Also, already installed our Kingston HyperX memory right there. And then we're going to do another test boot just to make sure that with everything installed as is right now, that everything is working correctly. Now at this point, I have done a lot of wedging and whatnot to get everything into the case here. We did do some testing of these parts before we installed them, but I just want to make sure that everything is okay before we proceed and get things installed to the point where we can't get at them anymore. So I'm just going to plug in our power supply right here. I've routed the power cables over. I've dropped in the video card. We're going to do a quick test boot just to make sure that everything jumps up at least and goes through post okay. Based on that, we should be okay to continue with the installation. So, looking good so far. Our fan is on max. I've only got one of the 120mm fans installed here, and actually here below that, you can see where my next dilemma is, which is that our MSI video card actually extends beyond the point where we'd be able to install the other standard 120mm fan from our H100. So I'm actually going to need to use one of our Scythe slim fans right here. So here's our fan that comes with the Corsair H100. It is about 25mm thick, and herein lies another dilemma. When we're using one of these slim fans on the front to pull air in through the radiator, it is much thinner. So these screws that come with the H100 to mount these fans to the radiator, which are sized just about perfectly, will not work for this, or at least they are way too long. So we could use a bunch of spacers, but I actually went through and found some other screws that I just have from my collection of random screws and things that have come with different cases right there. Now this one unfortunately is too short to fit through there, but I did test it and it does have the right threading to bolt into the H100. So I did another hideous hack job here, continuing my function over form theme with this case. Chopped off some of the corners of this Scythe slim fan, and that way we can just drop the screw right in through there and mount it to the radiator. So we are now down to 3 major components left to get into the case, and these are the ones that are going to really take up all the space. So we have the power supply, and that's going to fit on top of the motherboard essentially with a little bit of space in there. We have the video card, that's what's going to go in next. And then lastly, we will have our SSDs, and fortunately we can save those for last because we attach them to the panel at the bottom and drop them into place and then secure that panel on. So power supply is going to go in, and I'm going to wire up the power cables, and then I'm going to drop in the power supply. If you guys can see, right up there is our 8-pin supplemental CPU power connector, and that is one of the biggest pains to get at, and we need to connect that directly to our power supply. Now, Silverstone provides you with this which is actually a little extension. This is made for a 4-pin 12-volt CPU power connector, and you can plug that in, and that will allow you to more easily access that after the fact. However, I'm going to be using an 8-pin connector for one, like that one, and I want to reduce the number of cables in this case as much as possible. So I'm actually going to plug that in and then drop the power supply in on top of it. Speaking of which, here's our power supply, and it's got a nice big fan, and we have two options for this. One is to install it like so, which would give the power supply dedicated airflow, because there's going to be an open mesh panel right here, which would be nice, but this is a very high quality power supply, and we're not quite as worried about the internals on this getting warmer. So I'm actually going to flip it like this, and that way this big fan will be pulling air directly off of the area right above the motherboard, give that some additional airflow, and eject it out the back of the case. Oh, we're getting so close now. As you can see, a lot less space in there now, but we have the power supply and video card mounted, good to go. We have a couple of these brackets from Bytecc here at the bottom, and that gives us space enough for actually 4 2.5-inch drives on the bottom. We're only installing 3, but I would like to still use these brackets just because bolting directly to the metal isn't always ideal. So we're going to have them set up like this, but I did real quickly install one right there just to give a little test and see if it will fit. And the answer is yes. Yes, it will fit. Thanks. Oh, just barely. It's got about a millimeter of clearance before this fan right there. So I should mention I did need to do a slight little mod on the bracket itself. I just had to drill out those mounting holes at the bottom a little bit, and that's only because these drive mounts are actually made for 3.5-inch mechanical drives, so they have these silicone grommets right there and these little spacer screws that have to go through that, and they're a little bit wider than what these mounting holes there on the bottom are made for. Of course, since these are SSDs, the silicone grommets really won't do us any good. There's no vibration, but gives them a kind of floaty feel. So I'm going to pop these in next and plug in the serial ATA cables as well as our last power cable. And there we have it, our beautiful 600 gigs of HyperX SSD right there. Here's our RAID setup, and here is our single system drive. Fortunately, our serial ATA cables are routed right over here where they should be, so just going to pop these in, and then we can slot this into the case. Alright guys, I've cleaned up the desk some because right now we are just about ready for our first boot. As you can see, the system is pretty much configured over here. I have not put the side panel back on because that's bad luck, but I'm going to hit power over here real quick, just like that. It's going to start up. No operating system yet, of course, but hopefully we can get into the BIOS here and check what our current temperatures are. Nothing looking too bad so far right now. All our fans are spinning. Doesn't seem to be any conflicts. There's our ROG UEFI BIOS, I should say. And alright, so we're into the BIOS, so everything seems to have gotten through post okay, which is fantastic. We got the mouse control in the BIOS for our ASUS motherboard, of course. They've done a great job with their BIOS. I want to go over to monitor here so I can check my temps. What do we have? CPU temperature right now is at about 43 Celsius, motherboard 34, PCH is at 39. I think that's all within range of what we're expecting. Generally speaking, in motherboard, at least in BIOS, temperatures are a bit higher than what you actually see in the operating system because there's some more advanced functions of the processor that aren't enabled yet. Motherboard and PCH, actually, I'm going to be a little bit more concerned about than the CPU. But that is definitely within an acceptable range for me, so I can go ahead and start loading the operating system and whatnot. But let me give you guys a quick tour of the completed build first. Alright guys, this build is now essentially complete, and with all the hardware in it, I must say, not too heavy either. That being said, I'm not going to rule out any configuration changes we might make in the future. We have not put a full load on this, and as we're intending to use this for video editing. We're going to be putting a lot of stress on the processor under there, a lot of stress on the memory, and of course the SSDs as well. But just to go over how our airflow is currently set up right now, we have our H100 in the front, and that is operating as a fan intake for the entire case. There's a side slim fan on the bottom and the standard Corsair H100 fan up on the top, so that's pulling air in from the front. We also have our power supply right here, which has a large fan, which is on the other side of the power supply from what you're seeing right now, so that's going to be pulling air away from the motherboard area and ejecting it out of the back of the case. Now, we are hoping that this is going to be able to keep all of our components in here cool enough, especially while we're video editing, because we are going to be generating a lot of heat. But we will be following up. We'll do an additional video to show you guys how this is working. We'll probably run some benchmarks on it and show you what kind of performance we're getting. But for now, we're going to close the case, and then I'm going to start loading an operating system, at least once I'm done cleaning up everything. There we go. I'll bolt that in just a second. We do have a couple other pieces here. We've got this little panel, which can go in front of the optical drive right there, which we're kind of debating. It has to use adhesive to stick on, so we may or may not use that. We also have this bracket, which actually sits on the other side of the power supply. It provides a little support to the power supply, but it's already bolted down into 2 points in there, so I think it's okay. It also has an additional 3.5-inch bracket, which we don't really need because we've got all of our drives in there already. That being said, I would like to go over our sponsors once again, just to give them all a big thank you. So Bytecc for providing those brackets, of course. Scythe for providing the slim fan. We only use one of them, at least so far. We may need more of them in the future. Intel for providing the Core i7 3930K processor that we have in there. Thank you, Intel, for making such an awesome processor in the Sandy Bridge E-Series. Corsair, of course, for our H100 CPU fan and CPU heatsink and 240mm radiator. Kingston, of course. Huge thanks to Kingston for both the HyperX quad-channel memory kit as well as our awesome SSDs, HyperX SSDs that we have there. Those are going to be awesome for video editing. ASUS, of course, for providing the Rampage 4 Gene Socket 2011 motherboard. MSI for providing the N570 GTX Twin Frozer 3 video card. And finally, Enermax for providing that awesome 80+ platinum rated Platimax 850 watt power supply. That is going to wrap it up for this video. Hope you guys have enjoyed and learned a little bit more about how terrible I am at modding cases. It's a trial and error thing for a lot of the time, but again, we go for function and then for form, and as you get better at modding, you can make things look prettier. But for now, this is going to work awesome for us. That's all for today. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. I'm Paul, and if you want to see more tech videos, please head over to our Newegg YouTube channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.